Period 3 Green Day bio students. This is a quick video I'm making on top of the other video that I've made to help you finish what makes you the fastest climber. Now, just to make sure you understand the format of this document, I created some directions in black and some red text for practice for 3 skills that I think are really important: computations, sorting, and also graphing. I think that it's important that you take a look at the other video to make sure that you feel comfortable with each of those skills. And if you're not quite sure as how to do any of them, come see me for practice during flex, before school, during lunch, or maybe during a moment aside during class. The main thing is that you want to make and insert 4 graphs here, looking at the time of the riders as a function of mass, age, heart rate for only the riders with heart rate data, and also watts for the riders that have watts. And then you're going to be answering some analysis questions where I'm really looking for you to use data and evidence and outside work that you might have learned about to talk about each of these steps. 1 and 2 are questions that are asking you about trend lines and predictions. Now, when you look at a trend line, maybe power and time, and you insert a chart to look at that relationship, you should be able to quite easily make a trend line with an R2 value that will tell you something about that relationship. And when I see a pretty flat line with a lot of data points away from the trend line, it means that that's probably not a great predictor of time, because I have people making power at 300 watts that are either at 1 minute or an hour and 6 minutes. But if I then go and make the same graph using power to mass, I might find a different relationship. So part of the first couple questions really ask you to take a look at charts and look at their trend lines and think, how does those relationships change? And it does not look like power to mass really influenced a lot of the time, which is interesting. Now, the third thing is for you to answer using time and evidence and your understanding of concepts, which rider had the most impressive time up Mont Ventoux. Mont Ventoux, again, is a 13-mile climb at a 7% grade. It climbs 5,000 feet. And we know that Richard Carapaz had the fastest time. But I can make an argument that 8 seconds slower than Richard Carapaz, Alexei Lysenko, was more impressive because he weighs 12 kilograms or about 20 pounds more than Richard Carapaz. So he needed to exert a lot more energy in terms of watts in order to get up that climb per second, about 40 to 50 more watts per second, which is not a small amount. You can use age, heart rate, watts, times, mass, any of the dependent variables that influence time to answer this question. And then the 4th and 5th question is going to be where you make a prediction for someone's unknown heart rate and watts for a particular rider. So I might try and make a prediction for Richard Carapaz's heart rate using data and spreadsheets related to heart rate. So I could make scatter plots and look to see, for example, when I plot heart rate to time, insert chart, make it a scatter plot, add a trend line. Where does 1 hour cross the threshold of heart rate? And it looks like right around 1 hour. It's somewhere in the 160s to 170s. But this doesn't look like a very good trend line. So maybe I could sort my data to find people like Richard Carapaz who have heart rate data with other variables that are similar. So I will instantly notice that Alexei Lysenko has a heart rate of 174 and he was only 8 seconds behind. But Alexei Lysenko, despite having the same time, is a lot heavier and used a lot more watts, which might be good evidence for saying that maybe Richard Carapaz's heart rate would be lower. You could also then find another rider 48 seconds back, a 166, for Lawrence tandems and say that, okay, as a rider gets slower, their heart rate goes lower because the intensity is lower. But also notice that Lawrence tandems was 67 kilograms, so about 10 pounds heavier than Richard Carapaz. It was also 4 years older, so his max heart rate should be lower. These are the ways in which you can identify patterns, make comparisons,